Hi everybody, welcome to the first weekly roundup of 2023. It's been a couple of weeks with the holidays and just some other obligations, but I'm glad to be back. And I have a long list, big surprise. So first things first, Christmas wreaths and trees. So if you have Christmas trees or Christmas wreaths, as long as you remove the nails, wires, lights, tree stands, plastic bags, basically all we can have is the tree or wreath itself, and put that on your curb. We will be going around to pick those up. If you have strings of lights that need to be recycled, you can recycle those for no fee at the street department yard. But I'll be honest, this was a good reminder for me even to prepare because I did not remove the wire from my wreath. So we will make that change and put our wreath back out on the curb. Last week we posted an infographic about our 2023 budget. This is a really high-level infographic. There's obviously copious amounts of detail that goes into the city budget process that we boil down into like 10 different talking points. But what the purpose here is just to continue to provide kind of transparent information on how we are using your property taxes and what the largest kind of expenses for us are. So what you'll see there is the large investment we continue to make in infrastructure. And I'm not just talking about roads. We're talking about bridges and Tivoli Island. And the seawalls, things that haven't had necessarily the amount of attention that they've needed over the course of time for many reasons. We're trying to really push in and get ourselves back into a more routine schedule of maintenance and repair and replacement. So you'll see a large investment in infrastructure. You'll see about half of our budget is spent on public safety. And I don't know that people realize that every day, but of the revenue that comes into this community, about half of it is going back out to support public safety. And then over half of our revenue is in property taxes. And let me tell you, myself nor any other elected official in this city like that. But unfortunately, state law prohibits our capacity to create different types of revenue. So the only two major sources of revenue for us are property taxes and shared revenue. And since the early 2000s, the amount of shared revenue that the state has allocated has decreased by over $100 million. So as expenses go up, one of our main revenue sources continues to decline. We have been in constant communication with the state and our elected officials to try to tell that story, to try to work towards a more sustainable source of revenue for municipalities so that we can truly ease the burden on property taxes. So please check out that infographic and let us know if you have any questions. One of the budgets that's not in the infographic but was a big budget for us in these last few years is our American Rescue Plan Act funding and the money that we've allocated for childcare. You've all heard me talk about childcare many times, so I'll spare you the detail, but we have invested as a city in working on childcare and creating more childcare opportunities because it is a workforce availability barrier. If people can't get their kids in care, they're not available to come into the workforce. And we know that providing high quality education and childcare to our youth produces wonderful results for us as communities in the long run. So with that, I would love to invite you all to join me and my colleagues on January 25th at Maranatha Baptist University. We will be doing a community presentation on this childcare work that we've been doing, and we'll be asking for some of our businesses to join us in this next step of mobilizing a 120 plus seat childcare center that is centered around living wage for our workers, benefits for our childcare workers, and employer-sponsored childcare as well. So January 25th, if you're interested in joining, check out the Maranatha Baptist University Facebook page, I'm sure we'll have it, or Watertown Health Foundation, I'm sure we'll have it, and we can try to post something as well. Water main breaks, yes, they happen. I feel like I say this every year, but I'm okay with that. Water main breaks are going to happen when we have massive freeze and thaws. And it does seem earlier, I'll agree on that, but it's also been like 40 in January. So we're going to see those fluctuations as the ground freezes and thaws. We do have old water main. We have a really concerted effort and plan and strategy around replacing that water main. We've replaced it every year. We've replaced private and public lead laterals every year. It's just, there's still in the ground in this city water main from like the turn of the 1900s. So we can't solve that in a day. So we're going to have breaks happen. And even if we could, breaks will still happen. So please be patient. We know that it's an inconvenience, but we do our best to alert you when those happen and get those repaired quickly. over the course of the holidays, one of the exciting things that happened is we purchased the fire station land. So we are now in a process in 2023 of doing requests for proposal for the design of the new fire station. So the fire station land we purchased is near the intersection of Milford Street and Bernard Street, kind of that four-way stop. We purchased right around 7 acres of land, and we will house our one single station there. So this is not a satellite station or a second station. We will be moving the entire fire station to that location. And we're excited in just a week or so to close those requests for proposal and start reviewing those proposals to select our design company. 2023 is design, 2024 is build, and hopefully occupy by early 2025. So I'll keep updating us here on the fire station progress. With that in mind, we do have our fire chief is both our fire chief and our emergency management director. And then in the public health department, we also have an emergency preparedness person. And we have used and leaned on those people many, many times over the course of time. But really in the last few years, it's shined a light through the pandemic, through flooding, through snow squalls, through windstorms that take out the power, all of the things that have happened in these last couple of years, how important that emergency preparedness is to our community. So I wanted to just draw attention. We are trying to proactively share that information. So once a month, we will be providing some information and some text that we would love for you to read and then put into action in your own lives and in your own homes for the preparedness of emergencies that happen during the course of the year. This month is on winter weather safety, and I would encourage you to check it out. It's always a good reminder I know I read those reminders and then kind of evaluate my own home and my own vehicle to make sure that we're set should an emergency happen. January is Radon Action Month, and I don't know that a lot of people think about radon, but I know our health department does, and our staff there that do an amazing job of ensuring that we're educating the public on it. Radon exists in 1 in 10 homes in Wisconsin, and it is the leading cause of lung cancer among non-smokers, and that's terrifying. So in order to kind of be proactive in addressing that and alerting yourself and your home, we do have free test kits available for you at Watertown Public Health. So go to our Facebook page, give a call to the health department, get yourself a radon kit, and just do a test in your own home. I wanted to shed some light on some new leadership that we have in the police department. So in the last couple of weeks, we have promoted a new captain. So we have Captain Malloy, and we have also promoted a new sergeant with Sergeant Bowman. Both of those people have been with the police department for many years, and it's just exciting to see people work through that promotion process and just become excellent leaders for our community. So if you see them out in the community, and actually if you see any of our law enforcement officers, because this week we celebrated Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, please thank them for everything that they give to the city. Quick Riverfest update. If you're interested in following Riverfest, it's coming up the most in our Finance Committee meetings. So if you want to know what's going on, follow the Finance Committee agendas and meetings. We are working with a nonprofit that has now formed to transition Riverfest operations and the existing funds and materials to them. So I have every belief that Riverfest will happen in a new form and still some of the same form this summer. And it wouldn't have been possible without those folks that have stepped forward and created that nonprofit, many of who are local people who have stepped up in many ways in the past. So we'll share more information. I suspect actually at our last Finance Committee meeting in January, we'll probably have some formal action taken. So that would be a good one to watch. The library is doing a bookmark coloring contest, which I think is fantastic. Whoever wins, they're actually going to make those into bookmarks that will be used and available throughout the library. They are also doing Reading with Rover next week, which I know is a popular one. The STEM team is back, and there's this kind of neat kind of theater show for some students as well. They will be doing Disney at 100 throughout the entire year. So in celebration of Disney Studios' 100th anniversary, they will be doing some presentations and film screenings, and there is so much more. The list of things coming out of the library was so long, I had to read it with a set period of time. So I knew I could get something into this listing for this week because there's so much happening there. On the recreation front, babysitter class is open. That one is super popular. I think we're doing 2 versions of that in January. There is yoga, the eSports League, which has a variety of different games to participate in. And something that is new this year is they are bringing in presenters for, which I think one's coming next week, for a presentation on day trips and extended trips that you can take. So extended trips like the Pacific Northwest and California, America's music cities, Ireland. So these are trips you can learn about and I believe register for if you're interested in attending. Last on the jobs front, we need a park and rec intern bad. So this person is responsible for helping us with our park and rec programming, for sometimes running some of those park and rec programming events, for working on scheduling and staffing. It's a really important job for us and one that provides a lot of tangible skills. So it is a paid position, but if you're interested, please check out our city website and apply for that. We're also hiring for lifeguards and some of our other seasonal park and recreation staff. I know we have an opening on our solid waste crew, which is garbage and recycling, and then we still have the advertisements open for police officers and firefighters. So I know that it's supposed to kind of stay reasonably warm-ish again for this weekend, so great opportunity to get outside, whether it's through Brent Quirk or at our interurban trail. I will tell you I've received plenty of complaints where I should remind us all, if you're taking your dogs in any of those places, please help us all and clean up after your animal. We want to make sure that we can continue to allow dogs on all of those trails, and we can't do that if people aren't cleaning up after their pets. So please enjoy them this weekend, and if hitting the woods isn't for you, I know there are some new businesses in our downtown, and I would encourage you to check those out. Watertown Tourism obviously has an excellent listing. So that's all that I have. Have a good weekend. We'll see you back next week.